Hey guys, in this lecture we are going to see about Lambda functions. So Lambda function is a serverless. You don't have to manage any computing uh, servers to your coding. You just need to um, code in browser itself. Okay, so you just need to code your programming and then run it through Lambda without managing any servers. Okay, so let me create a function. So here you have three options. You can choose author from scratch, which means it only create a function with some hello world, simple hello world example. Okay, so you can also use a blueprint. Okay, so it will give similar to hello world example, but some other extra input output that you can give it in the functions. And um use a blueprint and container manage image. So let's say you have a runtime or a programming that doesn't support the inbuilt Lambda functions. You can choose a container image and then run your code. Okay, so the supported programming runtimes are these are all the runtimes like .NET, Java 21, Python, Ruby. Okay, and these are other versions that support direct Lambda function runtime. So I'm going to choose use a blueprint. Okay, so and hello world function from Python. So you can search hello, yeah, hello world function Python. So demo function. So create new role for basic Lambda permission. This permission, this role will allow the Lambda function to send a logs to CloudWatch logs. Okay, so I'm going to create a new basic, and here is the function code. Okay, so you can see it imports JSON and print loading function, and in function Lambda handler we have event and context. In event you will get an input, like that input have JSON value key 1, key value 1. So you're going to get those key values in this Python output. Okay, so click create function. Demo function successfully created. So here you can see so this is the Lambda console once we create a Lambda function. So here you can see diagram of the function. So in Lambda function, you can have a trigger and a destination. Like trigger would be the source that trigger the Lambda function. Okay, so you can have a Lambda function behind API gateway, and you will get a API gateway endpoint, and API gateway is the triggering point for Lambda function. So similarly, there are different services: S3, Eventbridge, SNS, SQS, DynamoDB. Okay, so similarly, Lambda function can have a destination. Like once the Lambda function processed everything, what is the destination to send the result? Okay, so that will be SNS topic or any other Lambda function or SQS queue, Eventbridge. Okay, so this is the flow of Lambda function, and here you can see code. Okay, so in coding section you can see your file, but so this is a single file, that's why you are able to see. But if you upload as a zip file, you have to download that zip file and then check. But you can see single file function, okay, in console itself. So this is new console that provide you the VS Code view. Okay, so here you can see the code we have added. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we are going to test this function. Okay, for that we need to have a test event. So we can create test event by clicking create test event, and then you will get options to add the JSON event. Okay, so I am going to provide a name, test event. Okay, and the template is hello world, so I'm going to use this template, and this is the key one value. So this is the event that we are going to send to the Lambda function, and then function will return the event key 1. So here you can see key 1 is value 1. Okay, so instead of value 1 I'm going to change some value, like cat value, dog value, and some mouse. Okay, and then I'm going to save this event. Okay, so now I have created an event, so I'm going to test with that event. So if you see the play button here, if you click the play button, it will run the function with the event that we created. Okay, so here you can see it gives value 1 equal to cat value, dog value, mouse value, right? Return gives cat value. Response gives the return value. So return value is t1's value, which is cat value, and it also printed the other values that is added in the function logs, cat value, dog value, mouse value. Okay, so you can check this invocation. You can also test it in test uh, section. Okay, what we did in a video, so you can do that here also. But if you click monitor, you can monitor the invocations. Yeah, this is the monitoring metrics. Here you can see one invocation, right? Millisecond, 1 millisecond. Yeah, so here you can see the metrics of this Lambda function, and if you scroll down, you can see the CloudWatch logs. I think it will take some time, but if you scroll up, you can click View CloudWatch logs. Yeah, this is the log it created for the Lambda function. If you scroll down, you can see the log streams, and if you click the log stream, you can see the output of the Lambda function logs. Here you can see value equal to cat, the dog value, mouse value. So the whatever we saw output in VS Code console, right? So you see those logs in this CloudWatch logs. Okay. This is monitoring, and in configuration you can see all of the configurations of Lambda function. So here you can see the by default Lambda function memory takes 128 MB and 512 MB of storage, and there's a timeout. Okay, so by default is 3 second max, but maximum is 15 second. If you click edit, you can see the minimum and maximum value for memory. It's 128 MB to kind of 10 GB. Okay, and ephemeral storage 512 MB to similarly 10 GB, and timeout. So timeout should not be more than 15 minutes, right? So maximum timeout is 15 minutes. Okay, so Lambda function only runs 15 minutes and then it will get timeout. So if it is more than 15 minutes process, you probably need to choose different service or need to trigger the another Lambda function. Okay, so yeah, the roles, execution roles are all there here in this general configuration. Okay, and you can also see the triggers, so we saw on this diagram, right? So we can add triggers here, and the permissions. Here we can see the role permissions that send a CloudWatch logs, create a log group and put a log events to the CloudWatch log, and you can also create resource based policy. Okay, and the destination is the same, this destination. So once Lambda function is processed, where to send the response or notification or whatever it is to the destination. And you can also add environment variables and call these variables in your code. Okay, so you can have environment variables here, and tags. You can add tags for this Lambda function. So the default Lambda function that we chose to blueprint, so it added those tags. And by default, Lambda function creates without VPC. It creates an AWS VPC that you don't manage. But if you want to launch this Lambda function inside VPC, because other services called RDS or any other services, DynamoDB, or inside the VPC, and then you want to connect with VPC, you have to launch the Lambda function inside VPC. So for that purpose, you can edit the VPC configuration and add it inside the VPC. Okay, so similarly, you can connect directly RDS database from Lambda console, monitoring, asynchronous invocation, file systems. Okay, so you can add a EFS. For that you need to configure a VPC to add a EFS. Okay, so these are all the most of the AWS Lambda function features. Alias, you can create alias for this Lambda function name, and you can have different versions. Okay, so you can have different versions in Lambda function. And there is another feature called layers. Okay, so you can have different layers for the function. Layers means dependencies. Okay, so you don't have to have dependency in your core function. Instead of, you can have all dependencies in one layer, and then you can call that layer to this function, so that your files or zip files will be reduced. Okay, you just need to call the layers that you added the dependencies, instead of adding a dependency in the core function itself. Okay, this is it all about Lambda function, guys. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.